Here at the E-Business Institute, we usually teach beginners how to earn money online. And on the Digital Investor Podcast, they're the sorts of interviews that we love sharing with you. How did people do it? How did they replace their incomes, or how did they create significant side hustle businesses on, whilst they're working full-time jobs? Now, today's interview is something a little bit differently, because these two guys were not beginners when they came onto our program. In fact, they were so advanced when they decided to join our high-level coaching program called Champions, I nearly rejected them. Okay, I nearly didn't accept their application, because they are, you're going to hear in a minute, they are very advanced. They've been online for many years, already earning money, a lot of experience in digital marketing and running businesses. But what's super interesting is they came onto our program. I accepted them on. But the cool thing is they learned a new skill, and in their first year, they have made over $70,000, which has blown away not only us and everyone in our Champions community, but also themselves, I think. So let's unpack what they did and a bit about their journey as well, because they've had some challenges in this last 12 months as well, which I think you'll identify with no matter where you're at, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. There's going to be some amazing lessons here for you if you're looking at replacing your income, and maybe if you're a what do we say, guys? Approaching retirement age. So let's just leave it at that bit. Not you, Gabrielle. You're way too young to be retired, aren't you? But guys, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing the last 12 months with us. What an amazing journey for you both.
Yeah,
thanks for having us on.
Thank you. I'm so pleased you didn't turn us down. And you talk up our technical and marketing skills, but we were at a point where we felt like we just had to go back to basics and follow people who were doing things that were working. I have that whole NLP viewpoint, which is, possible in the world, possible for me. It's only a question of how. So when all the sort of online marketing stuff we were doing just wasn't working anymore, I was looking for answers and probably had given up, to be fair. And it was really discovering you guys and sort of thinking, okay, this is still possible.
So this is really important. This is great, because being online, it's not always easy, is it? And you guys had been doing it for many years. You'd had a couple of successful businesses online, which we'll talk about in a minute. So you're at the point where you just mentioned, Robert, you're ready to give up. Now that's interesting. And look at the success now, 70 grand in your first year in this new endeavor online. Take us, we're big proponents of online businesses. And this is going to be fascinating to someone new coming here going, hang on, Matt, here's this couple they've been on for years and they're ready to give up. What the hell's going on there? What was going on there? What were your online businesses that you'd been plugging away at for 10 years? And what had happened? Let's have a look at that.
Yeah, okay. You want to take it away with the yoga stuff?
Oh, yeah, sure. I had a yoga studio up in Noosa, and I realised that there was a hole in the market. People just didn't know what they were doing. I taught Bikram yoga. So I spent about 2 years, almost 2 years from the time of starting to write to publishing. And at that time, there was no such thing as print on demand. So here's my first book.
Look, go Gabrielle. So if you're listening to this, Gabrielle is now holding up a ginormous printed book, one of those old-fashioned things that we used to read.
Old-fashioned things. It was a full-on reference manual on how to do the yoga. And
awesome. And what year was this, Gabrielle? Just so we've got it. What year was this roughly?
2008 is when, November 2008. So
when it launched,
launched.
Yeah, we did a full-on.
So we're recording now in November 2024. So there you go. Yeah. So quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it started, Matt, back in, I'll cut it short, in 2002, when just for fun, I popped up a website for the local studio, and before we knew it, we were outranking Bikram himself globally and getting traffic. So, the question was, how do you monetize that? And I was sort of in the internet marketing mindset because I'm a direct marketer at heart. Oh yeah, we'll just sell a $20 PDF, which is what you did back then. And no, this one. She says, no. So, several years later, we've got this coffee table book. We produced 2 DVDs, a couple of CDs, and then went on to produce 20 more DVDs. Which people don't buy anymore, of course. So,
but that was $200 US.
Yeah, we would. So we were doing direct sales basically. It's shipping the product straight from Hong Kong over to the US. I
Okay.
was doing all the fulfillment with this.com. WordPress really wasn't a viable opportunity those days. So, you had
So
to.
was it static HTML sites back then?
No, I used a PHP-based CMS called Expression Engine, which was proprietary.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did that business, so that's just one business, how well did that go? How did that go for you, Gabrielle?
7 figures.
Nice.
Yeah.
So gee, you ready to give up at 7 figures? No, I know we're jumping ahead along in the,
There's a marketing life to things, and after actually, Robert will tell you, we got Google slapped, and the result of that was we just lost a lot of traffic, and it was really hard to recover.
Oh, we got hammered. Yeah, and we weren't doing anything wrong. We just, the market was changing. I had to port out of Expression Engine into WordPress because it was mobile, it was responsive. The big thing in 2015 that you had to be responsive, and just kept getting worse. And we had 100,000 uniques a month, and it dropped to probably the lowest might have been 1,000 over a period of years.
wow.
We're back up to about 3,000 now because of the recent changes, which is great because there's a forum, so there's user-generated content. But it's dead in the water. It's a product it's kind of done its time. We'll need to reinvent it if we want to.
So, and I do want to mention, if you're listening to this, there's several things at play here. You heard Gabrielle say this was started back in 2008. It's a 7-figure membership or information style product combined in the original days with physical product as well, in the good old days of DVDs, but all driven by internet marketing. But what's important is, if you look up Google Trends, this is a slowly declining marketplace, and that happens. Sometimes we pick, because it's quite niche. It's Bikram. What style of yoga is it? I'll let you say it, Gabrielle.
It is Bikram yoga.
Bikram yoga, yeah.
And were you a guru at teaching it or something, running a salon, a practice in Noosa?
Are you a bit of claim that, man?
Yeah. That's why you look so young, Gabrielle. Okay, now it makes sense. Okay, and that's why you look so young, Robert. So has she got you doing yoga as well?
We both taught. So we did lots of things to keep.
Okay, so this is really cool. So did you enjoy? Let's just, whilst it's declined over the years, the good thing is, you've got to put in perspective. If you're listening, I don't want to scare any beginners, because I still absolutely love the model, obviously, of making money off info products. And it's, as you guys know, it is very, very lucrative. It's it's one of the best businesses you can own online. When you look back at the journey now, it had a lifespan. You made, really healthy 7 figures out of that business. Did you enjoy it over the time? Because you got to, that was your passion, presumably, especially I know for you, Gabrielle. When you look back now over the time, even though it's died off and you've moved on to other things, sometimes businesses have that sort of a lifespan as well. Did you enjoy it for the last, how many years you've been doing it for? Nearly 16 years. So have you enjoyed that time that you ran that business?
Most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah.
Most of the time. Yes, you always fall into the trap that you always know a certain amount of things, and that the people who are joining you are always going back to first principles. So you're always repeating those first principles, kind of like we do that. First principles champions, you go back to first principles so that you can soar. Yeah.
The foundations at work. Well, when you think about it, to earn 7 figures, nice lifestyle, living at Noosa on the Sunshine Coast there, out of your passion, that's a nice business. But it doesn't stop there. I want people to realize these guys are entrepreneurs. That wasn't their, what other things have you been doing over the last 16 years, guys? Because I know because in some ways, to me, it sounds like when you came for the interview for Champions, a bit of burnout on everything as well. You get a few Google slaps. You'd kind of had it for a long time. You're thinking, well, what else is there? We keep seeing these champions doing amazing things. So what else did you do, Robert? Because do you have some little... this is fascinating. I just want people to see what else you do. Come on, plug yourself.
Gabrielle, thank you. Gabrielle ended up writing a couple more books. I've only got one of them here to show. She wrote the Sellers book because we were so enamored with direct selling on Amazon that we started pivoting across to there because our direct sales model was taking off. So I saw the success she was having on Amazon. I mean, that book there I just held up went to #1 in the States in all of nonfiction.
Yeah.
So we were making, this is in 2013, so we're making great money from that.
That's when print on demand happened, and I even transferred my yoga book into a print on demand.
Which it still does today. It sells steadily.
So give us a shout out for the book. Is it still? Do you still sell it on Amazon?
Oh, this one. Oh, yeah.
That one and the yoga book. Yeah, they're all available on Amazon.
So that is, hang on, Gabrielle, hold it up. I'm going to give you a plug here.
Okay.
It is delicious salads, dressings, and dips.
That's it.
And under your name, Gabrielle
Rays.
Rays.
Yeah.
Okay, Gabrielle Rays, if you want to go and check that out.
Yeah.
So you've done, so you pivoted to, obviously you like selling books. You guys are good, right? Did you write all these books yourselves and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah. So what happened was that I was kind of intrigued by that, and being a long-time huge reader and lover of science fiction, I just thought, I'll try my hand at some fiction, which, I wasn't very...
All right, come on, Robert.
I wasn't very confident. So I wrote a series of 3 books aimed at middle grade kids. So that's your 9 to 12s.
Has he niched it?
That's science fiction fantasy. And I learned a lot from doing that. It was fantastic. I learned a lot about marketing because reaching your reader is really tough if they don't have a credit card.
Good
very
point.
interesting. So then I thought, maybe I should try some nonfiction, because I was a corporate consultant for almost 20 years and I had a name for teaching presentation skills and training trainers. So I wrote this one called I'd Rather Die. Public speaking.
All right.
Which got great reception and almost no sales, because I made some more marketing mistakes. So then I thought, I'm going to go back to fiction again. This time I'm going to write for an audience I can reach with a credit card. So I wrote a science fiction for adults trilogy. And this first one just came out in August, the 3rd one in the trilogy, Orion.
All right.
And the book 1 reached #1 in all of space opera in the Amazon US store. And #3 in all of science fiction. So it goes to show what you can do just from your home office. And they're the same marketing principles, Matt. They're not really any different. Amazon's its own SEO platform.
Yep. And so out of your passions, the two of you have created, basically for the last 16 years, you've been creating books, info products, if you like. So, and obviously 7 figures, you've had Amazon bestsellers multiple times. This is starting to sound amazing. So why the hell did you want to join Champions, where we teach you how to buy what you guys are doing, buying websites and or doing the digital agency strategy? Because that's what's going through a listener's mind. And I remember when I interviewed you, I even asked the same thing. And I said, all right, you guys are super advanced. We are teaching foundations, exactly what you mentioned you do with yoga and stuff. So what were you looking for at that point? If we go back a year, so just so you all know, listening to this, I'm recording this series with our successful champions as a moment in time. I want to capture Robert and Gabrielle's at this 1 year anniversary of spending a year with us and seeing their success. What made you want to make the change to go back to foundations?
Because what we were doing wasn't propagating. It wasn't working. It wasn't generating enough anymore. And I just said to Robert, we need to do something where we just give up and follow a plan. Just completely follow the plan.
And book marketing by itself is quite hard. It's, it's possible to make 6 figures, but you've really got to churn them out and you've got to be on it as full time. And I don't know either of us had the capacity for that. And just to go back to the sort of whole Google slaps things, I'd completely lost confidence in my internet marketing abilities. It just seemed like anything we did didn't work. And I was sick of it. I was like, And then I got this wind of people being successful. I go, no, content marketing, no, portfolio, no, they don't work. Me being the usual smarty pants. But I think we were humble enough to look at each other and say, you know what? We do have technical skills. We've got marketing skills. We've got business skills. We've got writing skills. And we've been successful online several times. Why the heck are we not successful now? We need to go back and follow people who are doing what works today and keep up with that. And we found your community and really didn't look back but we did go back to the basics. We just said, okay, Matt is always right.
Thank you, Robert.
Whatever you tell us to do, I did not want to do a local agency, not at all.
That's right.
I'm done my sales time tramping the streets and knocking on doors.
Says the new president of the BNI.
I know we're going to get to that. Don't worry. But this is super cool. So, and thank you, Robert. So I want to talk to, we do have I know we have a lot of listeners who are quite advanced as well, whilst we teach beginners, like I said at the beginning. If you're listening to this and you are advanced, it's really interesting for me when I did the interview with you guys. Remember, this is bringing it all back, that 12 months ago when the three of us sat there on the interview, and Liz said, "Are you sure you better make sure these guys know what they're getting into here, and you're going to accept them on the program?" And I said, "No, because you're too advanced." But then, like you both said exactly what you said to me just then. You need to go back to foundation sometimes and maybe get a breath of fresh air and a different perspective, because we teach, as you said, content marketing and buying and selling websites, and also the digital agency strategy. And hats off to you both. You said, all right, we'll follow what you say to do and we'll just stick to it. And it worked, and which is really cool. And I do want to congratulate you guys on that, because sometimes when you're quite advanced, your head can get in the way. And I think you're at that point where you realized, all right, we need to go back to basics. So that's the first lesson. If you're advanced, foundations definitely work. And sometimes if you're failing or not cracking it like how you want, maybe you just need a breath of fresh air. Hopefully that's what we are, or that's what we were for you guys.
Oh, for sure. And the whole local digital agency thing is so rapid. You can learn so fast. And honestly, my confidence in what's possible, not just for local businesses, but for all of the other strategies that we learn in Champions, my confidence is back. So,
awesome.
I'm thinking now I can put my more advanced business experience to use and scale up faster, perhaps because of that.
And I think I want to point this out to anyone listening. I think that's part of the success of Robert and Gabrielle here. You can hear these guys are very experienced, but I think you can see it was a lot of mindset. It happens in business. You can get knocked around. And I've worked with lots of people, but particularly, I'll say it outright, guys that have been super successful in business. They're used to being very successful for 20, 30, 40 years. And Robert, you mentioned something earlier, you were very successful in your previous corporate life as well. And I think anyone, watching this can say, and Gabrielle, I'm sure you'd, reiterate that too. The two of you are high achievers, used to being successful. And then when these things happen, it can mess with your mindset. And sometimes all you need is just a quick, it's not quick, but, get that confidence back again. And then you're back again, because you guys obviously had the skills to do this and adapt to it very, very quickly. And here's something really interesting. So whilst Robert and Gabrielle, I could see they definitely have the skills. If they just did I was suggesting, why don't you take a break from all the e-commerce and the selling the books and stuff, and just try the digital agency strategy for a while. It might be the breath of fresh air that you need, and just see how you go with it. Now, I secretly knew you would blitz that. I think someone with your background, you've obviously, you're comfortable. You've written a book about public speaking, so you're fine with sales, talking to people. But here's something interesting that I do want to mention. It's a really important part of your journey over the last 12 months. It wasn't quite that simple. So Robin, Gabrielle, what blew us away was they were kind of participants in the course, but it literally wasn't until the last kind of 6 months or even 4 months that things really took off for them, because poor old Robert had a major challenge in life. And I do want to address this because a lot of us at this age will go through this. Do you mind sharing with us what happened in the first 6 months of your Champions journey? What was going on in the family?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back a couple of years, because I had to go back to the UK to support my sister because mum was deteriorating. She had vascular dementia, so she was still living at home, but she needed a lot of attention, and a very anxious, very, very depressed person. So in the last couple of years, I probably spent 5 months over in the UK, including a time when you interviewed us for Champions. And then, so when I returned back from there, we started Champions in the September. And then little did I know that mum would have a serious fall and an infection. And in December, I was back there again. for 2 months, helping my sister move mum out. She never got out of back home again. She was in hospital for 12 weeks. We had to move her into a nursing home. We had to move her into another nursing home because the first one wasn't right. And then, I got back in early February. Mum sadly passed away a few weeks ago. I didn't think she would last very long. So I'm really pleased that I had the freedom to spend that time. Some of it we were able to do via laptop and stuff, but honestly, the attention just wasn't there until the February boot camp. And at that point, it was kind of looking at each other and, okay, if we're going to make this happen, we just need to pull up by our socks and get on with it. So really, I would say probably mid-February. I mean, I joined BNI in 7th of March or something like that, I think. So really, all the success has been since then.
Yeah.
Since March until August, basically. Well done. Like that's amazing, isn't it? So, and thank you for sharing that. As we all know, a lot of us, and I see so much more of this now. Those of us who are a little bit older, maybe approaching early retirement, sadly, we're all going through this. It's in our family. Liz and I have both been through it with close family members, and it knocks you around. So mindset-wise, did that knock you around too? And like for you, Gabrielle, as well, Robert's overseas for half the year, and here you are trying to reinvent yourselves online and learn all this online stuff. I would imagine the first 6 months were kind of a bit of a challenging time.
They were. And so we only just really focused on getting the digital agency website up because that was really where our attention expanded.
Okay.
We couldn't go any further than that. We spoke to a couple of people, but it just, the impetus wasn't there.
So come February, after that famous boot camp, there's a few of you champions mentioned that boot camp. That was a fun time, wasn't it? Yeah. Seems to be that was a big turning point for a lot of champions this year. You made a decision to get into the digital agency strategy. So what was your first kind of steps? And keeping in mind, if you're listening to this, reiterate again, Rob and Gabrielle, quite advanced. But what were your first steps? Like, I'm interested in, did you decide to build websites like how we teach, nice foundational way, which I think rocks, by the way. But what was your first kind of steps there?
Holy moly, that's tricky. I think actually it comes back to, again, something that you presented at the boot camp. So it wasn't really to do with building a website. I think that's partly because of my age. I'm sort of thinking, I should be off the tools by now. I want something that's got some freedom. But I'm prepared to put in hard work for, a 12-month sprint. And so many people, including yourself, stood up on the stage there and said, you're basically going to grow it initially through networking. And you can't, it keeps coming up. And I've always been good at networking. So I thought, okay, that's what I need to do. So I got in touch with a very good friend of ours who is a consummate networker, and she's very well connected across the coast as well. And she gave us lots of pointers. By then, I was already inquiring about BNI. So for me, it was what resonated with what you said, which is the more conversations you have, the more sales you make, right?
Yep.
And the interesting thing is that was repeated back to me by my vice president in the chapter this morning when she was doing her VP report. She was saying, Rob said to me on the phone last night, we're checking in private meeting, that the more conversations you have, the more sales you make. I said, I'll take credit for that one. But and so the first step wasn't so much building a website as, how are we going to do this without killing myself at this age? I don't want to build an empire.
Yeah.
And keeping in mind too, your energy, where you're at in life, your mum's just passed away. Let's address that. Like you said, you're at early retirement age. Are you happy to say what age you are, Rob?
Of course I am. Yeah, I'm 65.
65 and young. Well, you look heaps younger than that, mate. Well done. It's all this yoga. See, Gabrielle's keeping you young. But I would imagine, at 65, and now you would be hyper aware of your body and your mindset and things with all the work that you guys have done over years. Your energy, it would have been a challenging time. And so your first step was to get out there and network and join a BNI group, basically, which is, if you're overseas, it's called Business Networking International. It's just a business networking group. You can go and join any. But was it a good one that you joined on the coast?
Fantastic. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, the lady who got me in there through Fredericks, the head of the Australian BNI,
Yep.
through your link actually. And
Yep.
she got me in there. And she said, "Do you want to visit any other chapters?" I said, "Nope." Visit.
All right. Cool.
Yeah,
And
they're a lovely group of people.
They are good. Yeah.
And so at that point, what was your first job? Like, how the hell did you go from February to March, 70 grand? This is the bit that people want to know. What sort of things happened? Why did it take off so quick for you guys? Because I'm going to throw something out here. The guys were, like all of us last year, were seriously impressed with Jing's results. If you're in our community, or if you're not, go and listen to the podcast. In her first year, she did 30 grand. Super mum of 3, in an area she didn't know, English not her first language, and she did 30 grand. And you guys were inspired by that. And I believe at that February boot camp, you wrote that down as a goal. And now you've doubled what Jing's done. So what the hell happened? What let's unpack this. Where did it start, and what do you think were the winning factors here?
To be fair, there are 2 of us, so it's reasonable.
True.
We could
That's-
double it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You've
Yep.
got more hours to expend, but
I
I think
guess this the support is
yeah,
important.
definitely. If even if you're not a couple, if you've got someone to support you in it, then it makes a huge difference. And that's where the Champions community is brilliant.
Yep.
You are going to get the support. Where do we start?
So
Yeah,
What was your-
our first website was $750 bill just for a friend.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So
And how long did you do cheap, like small builds like that? 750
One time.
bucks.
once,
that's it.
yeah.
That was
Okay, and what did you go to on your next build?
3.5.
Yeah. Well, we did one for a not-for-profit for
Good.
3,000, and that's the Sunshine Coast Arts Foundation. So, and that was an important client. That was a rebuild from a very complex theme called Avada, which I hate because we used it on
yeah.
sites.
Know it. Yep.
And so we rebuilt the whole thing in Elementor. So it was very, very challenging. But there was a great learning through that. And again, it's about confidence that people understood we knew what we were talking about. So that kind of rubbed off onto other things, plus the networking training that you provided, and that idea that you have your 15-second pitch.
Yeah.
Like the guy that I signed, well, not the guy, but the ladies on the doorstep who, we ended up building the website and ongoing SEO for her partner, who's a solar and aircon installer. So
Yeah.
I think this.
So share that story, because people listening to this don't know that story. You shared it with the champions.
Yeah.
How did you get that particular job? This is just such a cute story.
It's hilarious. I was sitting at home working on the laptop Friday afternoon. Gabrielle was at Pilates. The doorbell rings. I mean, what the heck? Who's going to come up our driveway? It's long, it's steep, it's a battle axe block. No one door knocks us. So they were prepared to door knock. So I'll give them some time. And it was the Starlight Foundation's Make-A-Wish. And next week talked me a couple of nice young ladies. Sweet talked me into giving us some charity money. And then one of them, I said, well, what do you do? I said, well, we help businesses be found online and make more sales, especially local businesses, trades, etc., because they're often booked out for a few weeks. But, you ask them what they got in October, nothing. So we help them fix that. She goes, oh, you need to talk to my partner. So, well, what does he do? Oh, he's a Sparky. Okay, yeah, sure. Look, he's tried building his own website, but he doesn't really know what he's doing. And turns out it was built on Wix. And so I gave her my card, and Bridget didn't think anything more of it.
You didn't even tell me.
No, I
Because you
didn't.
thought it was nothing.
So,
Yeah.
and then about a week later, my phone rings, and it's an unknown number. But once you're in local marketing, you've got to answer everything. So
Yep.
yeah, fine. It's and he said his name, and I knew his name because I asked. So, oh yeah, I did. I spoke to your partner on when she came door knocking, and he said, oh, I'm interested in chatting. So he came round, we chatted. We gave him an idea of how much it would cost and how much ongoing SEO would be. And he said, look, it all sounds good. I said, I'll get a proposal to you. In the proposal, I said, I'll follow you up Friday. He emailed me straight back, said, can't wait to talk Friday. Spoke to him Friday. He said, where do I sign?
Awesome.
$3,500 website, ongoing SEO.
Yep. Perfect. So
one conversation, Matt. That's all it is.
that is unreal. And so I take it, you've found there's plenty of work up there on the Sunshine Coast, which, if you're listening to this and you don't know the Sunshine Coast, it is one of the iconic, just Google Noosa. It's one of the most iconic tourist destinations in Australia. It's one of the most beautiful parts of Australia to live. And the main reason that people don't live there is because they can't get work. Now you guys are generating significant income living in this beautiful part of the world because you're always making good money online, but so you're not finding any shortage of work then for building sites. Are most of these businesses small local businesses, or are they from interstate? Sorry, I should check that.
No.
I'm just presuming that most of them are local businesses, but where are you getting your clients from?
Our biggest client is one that Gabrielle found for us, who we love. We absolutely love working with them. And they're in Brisbane, in Ipswich. So they're in a western suburb of Brisbane. We drove even.
Yeah, that's
so
a 2-hour drive.
2-hour drive.
Yeah.
And we went twice to get that.
And was that through a referral, Gabrielle, or how did you find?
Cold call.
So you cold called them?
Yeah.
Gabrielle.
Found they were exhibiting at a show that I went to, and I looked at their website and I thought, oh, that's not very good. And so I rang them up and I said, look, your website's not doing the heavy lifting it should be doing.
Yeah.
And I actually had to keep ringing her back because she was always busy or somewhere out, but just the frequency of interaction made that work. And she had been approached by another champion, which was funny, which we found out a couple of months ago. So that was lovely. And we're really happy with them. And that was a lovely, that was a $10,000 build. And,
all right.
Yeah.
$10,000 bill through a cold call because you noticed the site was a bit crappy. Let's call wasn't doing the heavy lifting like you said.
Yeah.
And you just gently kept following up and it turned into $10,000. That's pretty cool.
I think to give Gabrielle huge credit here, she didn't just follow up. She asked lots of questions. She put together a really informative email sort of based on a web audit, SEO audit, the stuff you teach us. So it's such a different approach because these guys all get called day in, day out. Going, I can make you a website. We're coming in, I think, as champions and digital investors with a very different mindset, which is, what do you want your website to do? At the moment, it's slow. It doesn't have good hierarchy. Your content's old, the usual stuff. That engages them and gets them in conversation. Plus, it proves that she knew what she was talking about.
Yeah. So it's consultative selling, like we're helping people with the basic principles that we teach. The foundational, coming right back to the beginning of this interview, why you wanted to come on the course is we teach foundations that work. They're timeless online, no matter with AI and all the changes out there. AI just speeds up the process for us, but we're using foundations to help business owners. And you've obviously, both of you are finding awesome business opportunities out there. And are you doing a lot of ongoing SEOs, or are you just starting to get into that now?
No, we started that way. And my seat in BNI is SEO as well, which helps. So, I mean, I didn't ask for it, but today somebody spooked me and said, yeah, I know Robert's got a couple of number one spots for people in the chapter here. And he was just doing an education session. I didn't expect to be called out. So, that kind of thing does. And I literally, someone from another chapter came up afterwards and said, I need to talk to you. So, there's plenty of work out there as long as you can show the value of SEO. I think that's the tricky part, obviously.
So, I'm interested too, just so our listeners hear this, as advanced as you are, and I'm presuming you've already got team there, but have you gotten in and are you building the sites yourself, particularly on your first ones for the clients, or did you outsource it to team? So
with that first 70 odd, that's all us.
Good.
With the exception.
With an exception, sorry, yes. One of the other champions, a young champion who hopefully you'll get on the podcast at some point.
Yep. Amazing.
Yeah, yes. Who did an amazing job helping us out because we were quite stressed at delivering. So she's helped us on 2 sites, one of them including the $10,000 big one as well. So but we were falling apart at the seams. It's not because
you had too much work. Not nice problem to have.
Exactly.
But you two have decided to. If you're listening to this, please keep in mind, as advanced as the guys are, they've only been doing this for 6 months, like as we record this, and they've already hit 70 grand. So you're just getting out there because that's what we do recommend. learn everything yourself in any business. Don't care what it is. You want to be if you're serious about the business and you want to make a lot of money, and then obviously you outsource it later, but learn everything yourself so you understand how it works. And hats off to, and that's part of you too. That was part of my coaching for you both, to go back to foundations. So you're not just out, because it's easy to outsource, but I wanted you both to learn how to hand build these WordPress sites. Think of what you've learned from doing that anyway in the SEO, and that now then will flow over into your info product sites as well. So well done. And then when you are outsourcing, you're just using other champions anyway, so hiring from within the community. So that's easy. So it's really good to hear that you're both doing it yourselves. And then you now. And you're doing the SEO yourselves as well for these clients?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. So Robert, is it mainly you doing the sales work? Although Gabrielle, sounds like you're doing quite a bit as well. Like, how do you divide that up between the two of you?
We have a different funnel between us. So I've got the kind of BNI funnel, and Gabrielle's got we're getting leads now because we're ranking, I think, number 3 on the coast for search engine optimization. So we're getting website leads now, which is great.
Ooh.
3 in the last week.
Yeah, and because
Gabrielle,
we kind of agreed that
that's cool.
By default, we sort of agreed, well, I'll handle all the BNI stuff because I'm front. But these things come in, I pass them to Gabrielle because she's fantastic on the phone. I also promote Gabrielle as our user experience content queen and hierarchy mistress, because she's really good at that stuff. She's really good at kind of glancing. So we have divvied up a little bit of our skills.
Yeah.
I'm obviously the technical guy because I get really geeky on all that sort of stuff.
Okay, so you enjoy the tech. And the two of you do have a unique advantage, besides being a couple, in that you're both writers.
Yes.
So, and we have a lot of people who come into the program who are into writing and stuff. If you're listening to this, it's a huge advantage to be a good writer. You two are obviously absolute excellent. And that's how you've always made your money, or a big online. And that is it. And we do need to point that out. It is a huge advantage here. But well done, seriously well done. And this is absolutely awesome what you guys have achieved. I think mission accomplished here. So the big other changes that I did want to just kind of finish with is because I think if you listen to this is, I'm sure you'll agree with me, this is a watch this space. We want to get you both back on in a year's time and see where you're up to then. That'll be fascinating to see in itself. So achieving 70 grand, that's awesome. But at your stage in life, so early retirees, and considering, not that we want to look back in the past or anything, but considering what you went through over the last couple of years, and in particularly for you, Robert, as well, mindset kind of battered around the ears a bit, like a lot of us when you get to this age, things happen. I noticed in your final accountability to us, there was the mindset that was a big, big change here. How you're feeling now about life and early retirement, because it doesn't sound like you're retiring to me just listening to you both. But so yeah, how are you feeling now? 65 years old. A lot of us are in that age group, Robert. And how are you feeling about retirement and early retirement? Where's your head at? And life in general?
Great.
Yeah, really good.
I'm going to come to you in a minute, Gabrielle, because yours was an awesome comment. I'm going to read it out.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, her mindset shift has been fantastic because she was probably more battered around, I think, confidence-wise than I was with what we were doing. And we were plugging gaps in cash flow, and it wasn't pleasant. So I think the confidence in cash flow is fantastic. How there's a lot of people that come into Champions who are much younger than us, and they want to escape the corporate pod, but they're on probably quite high earning income, so it's quite hard.
Yes.
We don't need maybe as much money because our child has now gone and graduated university. We've gone, we can, and because we're asset rich but cash flow poor, so we don't need much to live on because we've got everything we need. So we don't have to buy big houses or anything like that. We're fine with all of that. What I wanted was freedom, and I feel for people who, let's say people in the trades, who might reach their 50s and they're starting to go, when the hell am I ever going to get off the tools? This is really tiring. And I would say, don't listen to us being super technical. You don't need to be super technical. You just follow Matt and Liz's program. It works.
Yep.
So I think it leads to potential freedom. So yes,
We won't
where
go as
I
gung ho.
no, I got to go gung ho
Yeah.
in that first 12 months, but the aim is to have a steady stream of income, have things that we like to tinker with. I don't want to sit there, with a pipe and a pair of slippers and do the CrossFit. That's just dumb. You'll have a short life. I need a long and interesting life. So I'm happy to still be managing if it's an SEO business, do it. And you've got role models like Caleb in Champions who, travels the world, has got minimal expenses, has got a thriving recurring income digital agency serving locals. So possible in the world, possible for me, only a question of how.
Yep. Perfect. And this is unreal. And for you, Gabrielle, you mentioned like at your stage, you said, you said, I remember at the beginning that your guidelines were to be optimistic, positive, and helpful. What I found is that my mindset and approach has improved. I feel overall more positive all the time. And I've found the environment really changed me. But here's the bit that I love. I'm more calm, less judgmental, more positive. And you wrote really with a big smiley face, but you didn't expect feedback like that. I mean, that is wonderful. So for you, for you, a big mindset change here in this last 12 months.
Yes. And that's really, I think everything feeds into each other. So the contentment feeds that as well. And then I think basically being drip fed by a webinar every week with the same kind of positivity definitely has an effect. It's like you do something good in your week, there is always a lag. And then, if you leave it too long, it drops off. But you've got enough to be able to keep hopping on the rocks to keep the projectile going, and getting better and better. So I enjoyed that for that reason, and it feels like a permanent change, and definitely.
Yeah. Well, I want to say big, massive congratulations to you both. Like, mission accomplished with where you're at. To remember what part of it was, like you said to me, is just get your mojo back in business and just go back to foundations. I think I love that lesson. If you're more advanced or if you've been knocked around a bit in life or whatever, sometimes it is. And I think it was also partly for you guys just trying something completely new. Like you said, Robert, when you come to Champions, there's no way you were going to do the digital agency, but you went, all right, let's do it and see what happens. And so I think there's some amazing lessons here. And I do want to say also, besides a big congratulations of your obvious financial success, but your mindset success, getting your confidence back, and in particular for coming on today and sharing your amazing story and inspiring other members in our community. So big thank you both for sharing so openly your story today.